Episode 1, where it all began. I was born in a small, grey hospital on the outskirts of East London. My mother says it rained the day I came into the world, the kind of cold, stubborn rain that soaks your bones no matter how fast you run. She always tells the story with a half smile, as if the weather had been a warning she didn't understand at the time. My earliest memories are of our tiny flat. It was cramped but warm, filled with the smell of jollof rice and the sound of my father's deep voice reading me Bible verses. My parents weren't rich, but they carried themselves like they were, always neat, always speaking with a kind of quiet pride. They believed that in England, hard work would open every door. School was my first real taste of the outside world. I was the only black kid in my class until I was 8. At first, I didn't notice the difference. But kids notice everything: your hair, your skin, the way your mum wraps your lunch in foil instead of giving you sandwiches in plastic boxes. The first time someone called me a foreigner, I went home and asked my dad what it meant. He just looked at me for a long time before saying, "It means they see you before they know you." I didn't understand then. I do now. I was smart, not book smart in the way teachers wanted, but sharp, quick to read a room. I could tell when trouble was coming before it arrived. Still, I stayed out of fights, did my homework, kept my head down. My mother would always say, "Don't give them a reason to point at you." And for a while, I listened. Things began to change when I turned 11. That was when my father lost his job at the post office. He tried everything: night shifts, cleaning work, driving minicabs, but it was like the city had turned its back on him. I watched his shoulders get lower every day, his voice quieter. Mum picked up extra hours at the care home, but it was never enough. Bills piled up like dirty laundry. Around that time, we started getting letters from Nigeria. My uncle in Lagos wrote about opportunities, about how my father could help run his business, about how life would be better there. I didn't know what to think. My world was London, my friends, my school, the streets I knew like the back of my hand. Lagos was just a word on an envelope. But the decision came fast. One evening, my parents sat me down at the kitchen table. My mother's hands were shaking. My father's eyes wouldn't meet mine. "We're going to Nigeria," he said. Just like that. No discussion. No warning. I remember staring at the flickering kitchen light above us, thinking it was some kind of joke. The next few weeks were a blur of boxes, goodbyes, and the smell of damp cardboard. My friends didn't understand why I was leaving, and I didn't have the words to explain. On the flight, I sat by the window, watching the clouds roll past, wondering what waited for me on the other side. Lagos hit me like a punch to the chest. The heat wrapped around me, thick and heavy. The noise was endless: car horns, shouting, the hum of generators. Everywhere I looked, there were people. Crowds moving like waves, markets spilling onto the streets, children darting between cars as if traffic was just another game. We stayed in my uncle's house in Surulere, a busy neighborhood that never seemed to sleep. At night, I lay awake listening to the city: dogs barking, music drifting in from bars, the sharp crack of something that might have been a gunshot. My father seemed different here, walking with his shoulders high again, smiling like the air itself had brought him back to life. But for me, it felt like I'd been dropped into another planet. The first time I saw them, I didn't know who they were. A group of boys, older than me, leaning against the wall outside a corner shop. They watched me like they were measuring something. One of them nodded at me, slow, deliberate. I nodded back without thinking. That night, I had no idea that nod was the first step towards the life that would ruin me. Please kindly like, comment and share. Please subscribe and turn on notification for the next episode. Don't miss it on BAMINDA TV.